big problem for me, because normally is that you have a league, pick up the best players and create the team. Now I have to create the players first, then to create the team. But anyway, we have just these 3 games to finish, and then will be a lot of time. Actually, I'm pretty sure that SAF games will be played in September next year or so. So we have plenty time. Also, we opened the application to bring overseas players to play for the national team. We have a huge Sri Lanka community, particularly in Western Europe.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
Hola, very warm welcome to the VAR show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to go to the theme of interviews, and we have the head coach of Sri Lanka national team, Mr. Amir Alagić, with us. So without wasting much time, I would like to first thank Amir for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show, and I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing these days during the pandemic period?
Thank you very much for having me. Very glad to address the football people, around the world, especially Nepal is a neighboring country, basically, is friendly country. So looking forward, to meet the friends from Nepal Federation in coming months. Actually, after this Corona layoff, almost 4 months, then we are lucky to restart our football activities. Following week, actually having in sight the upcoming FIFA games in October. It's not certain yet that will be played or postponed, but actually we are going with our plan that and assume that it will happen. As the people know, we are playing North Korea on 8th October, then on 13th we are hosting South Korea, and then finishing our campaign on 12th November, going to Lebanon for the final game. On following us week, as I said, on Monday, we restart our football activities, and we invited 18 candidates for these 3 matches, what I just mentioned, so that pretty looks nice. And without, of course, at this first camp, without 2 overseas players who are eligible to play for the national team. So all our local players, and we have to follow the strict rules and regulation issued by the health ministry, which is social distance, which is the training without the contact. So very difficult, actually, when you are thinking that you are 3 months away from the kickoff of these games. We are facing very hard opponents, but that's the way how it goes. And we are actually happy that we are one of rare Asian countries to resume the training.
So of course that's a very good news, and I will touch on your time at Sri Lanka, which is right now. You are the Sri Lanka technical director and the head coach.
Go ahead.
What are the things you feel that needs to be improved? That what you have seen right now.
Actually, I have a bigger standards than is temporarily just in Sri Lanka. I'm coming in from Europe. My career span over 27 years of coaching in 17 different countries. Highlights of my career, just to mention for the public, is the winning championship and cup with DPMM FC from Brunei, Dar es Salaam. This is my 3rd spell as a head coach. I used to coach Brunei national team, U19 Bosnia national team, and now Sri Lanka. Obviously, the standards right now are pretty low in Sri Lanka. That simply when you see the FIFA ranking, everything will be clear. Sometimes that is tricky as well, because Sri Lanka actually really faced the very strong opponents in the last couple of years. So sometimes giving you a false picture about the whole situation. But anyway, Sri Lanka really needs to reconstruct their football system from the bottom, starting from grassroots, youth development, including also women national team and the youth development for the girls. We are imposing some kind of rules and regulations here. I introduced the new national football curriculum. also the action plan in the next couple of years, because when I came, we agreed to be the national coach, but after a while I saw that we don't have a proper supporting system for the national team, because we didn't have a league for quite a bit time, almost 2 years. So it's very big problem for me, because normally is that you have a league, pick up the best players and create the team. Now I have to create the players first, then to create the team. But anyway, we have just these 3 games to finish, and then will be a lot of time. Actually, I'm pretty sure that SAF games will be played in September next year or so. So we have plenty time. Also, we opened the application to bring overseas players to play for the national team. We have a huge Sri Lanka community, particularly in Western Europe. So we already find 5-6 really good players who are eligible to play for us, but they have to undertake citizenship procedure. It will take 4 to 6 months, but they will be ready for the SAF games. In the meantime, I'm trying to focus on the local players, find the best possible local players, to give them a proper coaching, to reconstruct the federation, the whole system, as I told, from grassroots. That's for future. From short term, we are focusing the national team, overseas players, and national curriculum to change, because we change our tactical approach and setup.
So definitely. So you have been there, I think, for a while now, and how is the infrastructure in regards to football?
But as I said, many years actually, that lacking of infrastructure, of the proper foundation, of the proper setup, meeting the world standards, pay the price. So now we are pretty low, and we don't have as I said, a proper supporting system, for competitive results. And the recent years and the recent results clearly show that was a wrong approach and way. Now the federation with me on the board as a head coach and the technical director, for another 2 years, trying to correct something in a very short time, because it's quite necessary. If we want to squeeze the gap, especially during Corona time, when all activities are seized in many countries, now is a perfect time for us to squeeze these gaps, and put a proper foundation and going forward. Actually, whatever we do for the near future, not right now, because as you said properly, we are lacking infrastructure. We still looking for the national stadium. Is a matter of discussion even with the government in the following months. So right now is very big challenge for me, because I don't have almost anything in place. What I'm saying to you will be quite easier that we conduct this interview in 2 years' time, because definitely will be everything turned upside down and will be much, much easier. More chances for us to meet international standards and, of course, be competitive first in South Asia and then beyond in the following years. Right now, we are focusing to have a proper field to play, a national stadium. We have a couple of venues that we will choose one, to set up and meet the FIFA standards for international games. And, of course, to revitalize the national team and the youth national teams first. Of course, as I told you, parallel, we are undertaking the process to bring overseas players of Sri Lanka origin to be eligible to play for the national team. This is my ultimate goal, SAF games next year. And of course, we have to do everything possible, that we reconstruct surrounding around national team and strengthen our supporting system.
So like you said, we'll of course have the interview in 2 years' time. That's not a problem. But when we have the interview in 2 years' time, what will you consider as a success? What do you want to achieve in the 2 years?
I just said to you, a little bit in a funny way, but I'm very serious, because any coach coming on a position that I'm right now needs the time, obviously, to implement. Nobody's magician. Nothing in this football comes over the night, especially in the countries like, for instance, no offense, in South Asia. This gap is really big, even for the advanced countries like Bangladesh or India. Is a big gap with other Asian countries, not mentioning European standards. So when I'm saying you 2 years, it means that we'll put a proper foundation. We will have a national curriculum. We will know exactly how we'll play. We know exactly selection of our players. Many of our players who are based overseas of Sri Lankan origin will come and play for the national team, which is almost maybe a whole team. This is what I'm looking for, Then we will have a chance for our local players and more time for them to develop. We will have most likely opening the National League in late November. So in this eve, you will have a very positive points, to develop and then you will have a basement to have a stronger national team. Right now everything is just more in the working ideas, more in the planning. So for all this program, what I said to you and the points, what we are going to achieve and create, we need the time. I set up that time framework around the 2 years, which is first stage is our ultimate approve next year during the soft games. I hope that will happen next year, obviously. And then in 2 years' time is commencing the other international competitions like AFC tournaments, start another FIFA qualification stage. And this is what we are looking for. Obviously, we cannot count on our national players right now because they are lacking a lot of experience and skills. And these recent years show clearly that these really lost a lot of valuable time in the last 10, 15 years. So now I have to put everything upside down and put inside the next 2 years that we start to be competitive. Obviously, football is a huge business today, and with such results, we don't have any kind of future. So the federation realized that and put me also, based on my experience, expertise, and knowledge, this is what they entrusted me as a technical director as well, and parallel to put my ideas into reality. I really thank them for that trust, and I will do my best definitely to put Sri Lanka on feet again and bounce back football, which is ultimate goal, soft games and beyond the next 2 years, to be competitive at the international level.
Definitely. So I'll move on from that and I'll talk about another topic. You have managed various, youth academies and soccer schools in different countries, and you have basically been involved in a lot of youth football. Like suppose a club in Nepal wants to improve the youth system. What is the advice do you give?
Paul was the same what we are doing now, honestly. We dropped so low. When I say we, because I'm obviously part of the Sri Lankan recovery right now. So the overall Sri Lankan football is dropped so deep, because, there is nothing coming randomly or by chance. You have to set up a proper program. What we are doing now, I proposed a master plan for next 4 years, which is constitution for every football federation. That's the number one. So when you know where you're now and what is your bigger picture in the frame term of 4 years, you exactly know what you are going to do. Then you set up a national curriculum, how all football will be played in your country. What is a football philosophy? What is a playing philosophy? What is a coaching philosophy? When you have set up that, then you make a DNA. DNA is the way we play, the way we behave, the way we conduct, and the way we succeed. So these 4 stages are going rapidly every 6 months, and they are proven by international games, of course. Then you set up action plan based on master plan and national curriculum. What are the shortcomings? What we have to correct? I find the 30 shortcomings, as a technical director, basically you are like kind of a medical doctor. You have to find a way from where some people are sick. So when you detect that, then you go to make action. And this is what I'm starting right now, opening all of these projects, as I said, you coaching education, women football, beach football, youth development system, grassroots program, and partnership with one big football federation, like I'm trying to connect with Croatia, with German Football Federation, who has helped us on the road with the technical support and also, about the trainings and about coaching education. So these are ultimate goals, what we want to achieve in the next 2 years to bounce back again. And, as I said, Nepal, like the other countries, is South Asia, which is really the lowest rank right now in Asia. Unfortunately, they need to seriously take this into consideration, invest a lot of money in their system, especially in youth and grassroots, because when you have a quantity, obviously, on the long term, you're having a quality as well. So you cannot harvest if you didn't put the proper seeds inside the ground. So this is my advice for these people. Don't think about only today. Change that setup. Change that mindset in South Asia. Think about what will happen 4 years after and beyond, because we are not playing just right now. We are also must be disciplined to think about the future generations, and that's my advice to the people. Start all South Asia with the proper grassroots, with the proper infrastructure, with the coaching education, and in long term, I'm telling you, that will pay a price, and we will bounce back as a region, and we will join the advanced countries in Asia. Anything else, honestly, will be a lot of problems here. Absolutely catastrophic situation that simply, we will lose any kind of track with the, advanced countries in the world. So, and that is not fair first for our kids, for the whole system, because you should understand at the end of the day, football is a business. If your football is good in the country, you are economically strong, you create more jobs, okay, and of course is a revenue issue. So this is a lot of at stake, and we cannot just think about today. This is what I said to Sri Lanka management, and they accepted that. So we changed mindset, not thinking just about today, we are thinking about next 4 years and beyond.
Definitely, I'll move away from that topic and I'll talk about you. And as a tactical point of view, what is the footballing philosophy like?
As I said, we have a huge gap in between first South Asia, then about all Asia, and I'm not mentioning the world. So when I came here, you have to start doing a national curriculum. National curriculum, as I said, is the way how we play, how we coach, how we behave. So I changed that mindset here, and we changed also the tactical approach. So I'm trying to implement from grassroots all the way up to the national team 4-3-3 system. Why 4-3-3 system? When we are talking about future, 4-3 system is easiest to understand and comprehend because it has just 3 tactical lines. It's much easier for the youngsters to have 3 tactical lines to think about than 4 or 5, whatever, some complex issues and tactical formations. This is number one. Number two, in the last 4 years, almost 70% of the most successful clubs and football federation in the world playing 4-3 system, which is winning system and a formation. Why not to implement something, not being smart to invent God knows what, just take what is the best from the world. This is what I'm trying to implement here. So we are starting with 4-3-3 system, but what I'm saying you, for those who are more into the football business, they know today that is almost irrelevant which system you play because, it is changing over the course of the game. For example, 4-3-3 system is minimum changing 3 times during off possession and 3 times during having the ball in your possession. So it's very versatile, very flexible system. It's not. Also in 5-6 years, I'm more than sure that all these systems will be obsolete, which we are going to play just the total football, which means that all players must know to play 2-3 positions. They have to chase the ball all the time in any other tactical setup rather than having some fixed 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-1-3, whatever system. We are approaching total football. We are approaching 15 kilometers to run. So no time that you have some kind of fixed tactical approach. So you have to have you have to have absolutely smart players with the cognitive abilities, and you have to players who are able to run minimum 12, preferably 15 kilometers to achieve the best in the world of football. So what I'm saying to you, in that formation, in that thinking, we are implementing 4-3-3 system in the next 4 years from the grassroots all the way up, and there are some positive responses. Of course, such a knowledge from the national curriculum we will observe and put into the coaching education. Our all coachings will go through the licensing and coaching education, having in mind that we are changing in 4-3-3 system. We are trying to late this year to bring some people from UEFA, from coaching panel and education to help us out to wrap up this program, to really finalize a world standard coaching center here, and to have guest speakers notable from the world of football who will give us edge to have a really good knowledge about this system, about the whole national curriculum, and to present to our coaches and to our players.
So definitely. So my next question is you have had so much experience and success in your career. But if you had to choose one moment in your career, the standout moment, which one would that be?
You are basically talking about South Asia, right?
Anywhere, even in Europe, anywhere, wherever, your full career.
About my career.
Yeah.
I'm having some difficulties to understand all your point. That's why I'm asking. Sorry. If I understood you properly, okay. I was a 16 players professional player playing in Germany, Australia, and former Yugoslavia. So I have a pretty much experience. If you want to be successful, honestly, it's not just somebody say, okay, you don't need to have a good career to be the coach. There are many examples, like, for instance, Mourinho he hadn't been so big player, but now he's a fantastic world-class coach, for instance. Or on the other side, Maradona, he was one of the greatest ever, but as a coach, he didn't have a successful career. But what I'm saying to you is much easier actually to be good coach if you were good player, because you understand the game, you understand the pain of the players, you understand the whole process, how to wrap up this situation, form good coaching staff, assistants, and having your proper idea, to go forward. So if you're asking me personally, that career as a professional coach helped me a lot, to develop my coaching philosophy. Also, help that as I said, Sri Lanka is my 17th country in my whole career as a coach, 11th in Asia. So it helped me a lot, to understand all kind of approach, all kind of culture, mentality. If you want to be successful in one country, you cannot just bring your knowledge in, and force the people to do something that are not able to do it. So you have to be very flexible. You know what you have to do. You have world standards, you have ambitions, but you also have to take into consideration the current status, for example, like in Nepal or like in Sri Lanka. So I'm doing that, and I'm creating the program, that is suitable for the standards of the Sri Lankan football, but of course having in sight, that we have to improve. So that's why I'm making younger and younger every time when I'm selecting the players. This national team of Sri Lanka also obviously is much better respond from the younger players than for the older ones, because they cannot change so easily. And also, don't forget that today, biologically, we are coming to the point that human body cannot go beyond 15 kilometers to run, say like that. But actually, on average, we are using brain 3 to 4%. So in the upcoming years, all these national teams, successful clubs, especially in Europe, bringing 2, sometimes more sports psychologists inside, hypnotherapy people who will help the players to get out of the stress, because it's very important, obviously, especially Corona time. You see, all national teams must go now to travel, expose themselves safety-wise. It's not easy mentally, to overcome this situation. Who is thinking about the football when you go to some country and that still this virus is around us? So what I want to say to you, as a coach, you have to have your philosophy. You have to have a winning combination, obviously, and you have to understand where you are right now. So I have to understand what is the mentality of the people in Sri Lanka to help them out, to cure and bring a proper coaching philosophy forward. I'm pretty sure that I'm on a positive way, and that situation, as I'm telling you, is not coming to be easy. It's a painstaking process for us, another at least 3-4 years, and then we will harvest something. As I said, because obviously we will have a support from overseas players. We will raise our local players on the world standards, and then will be much easier situation. Obviously, with the starting of National League and proper coaching education and having better coaches in Sri Lanka, that I think that is definitely these 4 points are winning combination for the future.
So on that note, Amir, I'll ask you one final question. Whom do you prefer, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
That's also a good question. That's also a good question. Not easy to answer, trust me. First, these 2 players are totally 2 different styles. But I understood your point. You are talking more about being useful. As a coach, I prefer that I have a teamwork. I rather to have a strong team than to have a strong individuals. Why? If you have a strong individual, everything turns around him. If he's injured, not able to play, whatever, then system is going to shut down. You understand? But if you have a strong team, like for instance created by Liverpool Football Club in recent years, they don't have so many big names, say world-class players. They are fantastic players, of course, but they are not world-class players. So you cannot say that Milner is world-class player and the others, but they are world-class player in the term of being a team member. So this is what I'm preferring in Sri Lanka. We don't have such a players as you mentioned. I will come back to your question in a few seconds. But, we are trying to be Messi or Ronaldo as a team. So that's one way, later I hope that we will develop some individuals. Of course, we need the leaders. This is a team sport, okay? But for time being, I rather prefer, to be honest with you, team members who are so good and qualified to bring us success, because you easily break one finger, but 5 is very hard. So this is my philosophy, coaching philosophy. But personally, if you are asking me, I rather prefer Ronaldo because of his attitude. That is spreading as a disease to the other players, because he's so keen to do every time the best. He's a leader in the team. He's very useful in many positions. He is spending almost 18 years as a professional player. Come on, it's not easy to do it. The guy is a millionaire, but he's always asking his body to give more and more and more, challenging himself to the absurd situations, So I praise him a lot. On the other side, definitely Messi is the guy who is gifted from the heaven with his skills, Ronaldo is thought his skills. He's not a naturally born talent. So they are totally two approaches, If you ask him personally, it will be fantastic that we have both of them in the same team, because obviously the Messi is somebody who can bring ball forward and create the chances, a part of being scorer. Ronaldo on the other side is purely scorer. He needs somebody like Messi to create this killer touch, killer pass, and give him opportunity to score. But honestly, I rather prefer Ronaldo, because we are approaching a time in the next decade that people like Messi won't be visible anymore. Absolutely. It will be more and more Ronaldo, because game is getting faster, game is getting more physical, more pressure on both sides. When you have a ball, you maybe have a half a second to make decisions. Okay, Messi time as a dribbler and this and that is unfortunately sometimes is passing away, because obviously won't be so much time and space for the players like Messi in the next decade, because is a tremendous pressure on the field. Is getting like a basketball. You have a couple of seconds to score the goal from goalkeeper and this and that. So people like Ronaldo will be more appreciated in the next decade. And as I'm telling you, we are approaching total football. So it won't be any more dribblers like Messi, this and that. Nobody will give him the time anymore, So people like Ronaldo will be definitely more valuable in the time that is coming to us.
So on that note, Amir, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for your future. Hope you can, implement your ideas in the Sri Lanka football and achieve most out of it. Best of luck. Stay safe. Take care.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really would like to use a few seconds to address our fans and football fans in Nepal, in all of South Asia. I know that your program is visible for the other countries and the region. I'm very glad that I can speak. I'm not considering this as an interview, just as a football fan as well. I like football, of course. And having opportunity to say that, hope that the Nepal Football Federation is also take some advice from me, and following this situation, that ultimate goal of our full region is to squeeze the gap between us and the rest of the Asia, for the good of the game, for the future generations, of course, and for the overall situation in this region. Because having a better football, having better environment, definitely. Thank you very much for having me one more time, and all the best to you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.